All right, let's talk about getting to know yourself. You know, this comes from thinking that we know a thing well, but then realizing that we're really strangers to the thing more than we think until we begin to examine and learn more about it. I've said in the past that therapy is learning intimacy with oneself. So I remember when I started going through my own authentic recovery, people would say, you know, you got to learn about yourself. You got to get to know yourself. You've never gotten to know yourself in a real way. And I thought, that's absurd. I'm me. I am me. Who knows me better than I know me? But here's the thing. I didn't really know me. I thought I knew me, but thinking I know myself and really knowing myself, two different things. So when the whole process, that whole 7 years of authentically recovering from borderline personality disorder was a great big marathon of getting to know myself for real. Not who I think I am, but who I am for real. Getting to really know myself. You know, it means digging below the surface and understanding yourself better than anybody else does or ever has. So, till now, you know, maybe you've believed that you do know yourself because you're you. But there are many things you only know about yourself superficially, that is, on the surface, or inaccurately. There's things you probably think you know about yourself. You don't really know those things because you never have stopped to understand where that comes from. Like, why do you do the things that you do? Or why do you feel the way you do about that certain thing? And that made me think about water. How, you know, there's nothing that you have consumed more in your entire life than water. And yet, how well do you really know water? So one thing I kind of like to do is from time to time I will take just the most common thing that I can think of and I will research it to see how much I really know that thing. And I never cease to be surprised with the things I come up with. The information and the insights that I gain from just deciding to look up some totally normal thing that is featured in every day of my every life, and seeing what I can find about it. So, water. What do you know about it? Well, here's some interesting things. In a lake or an ocean, water at 4 degrees Celsius, that is 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit, sinks to the bottom. Now, why is that important? Think about a lake or an ocean. Temperature drops down to 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius. Now that water, that water that has reached that temperature, sinks down to the bottom of the body of water. And what happens after that? Ice forms on the surface of that body of water. And the ice floats on the liquid water. The ice insulates the water below, preventing it from freezing solid. So the water that has sank now is insulated by the ice on top. It won't freeze. Why is that important? It's important because if that weren't to happen, most everything that lives in water would perish during the winter. Did you know that? Did you know that freezing bodies of water behave that way in order to preserve alive the life within them? Do you know what the boiling point of water is at sea level? Did you know that it's different at sea level than if you're up on a mountain? At sea level, the boiling point of water is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 100 degrees Celsius. But as atmospheric pressure decreases with altitude, so let's say you're a backpacker like me, you're carrying your water, and you've just climbed a mountain, so now you're up at a high altitude. The boiling point decreases by 1 degree Celsius every 274 meters. In other words, high altitude cooking, if you're up on a mountain trying to cook your meal that night, it takes longer than sea level cooking. For example, at 5,000 feet, cooking time must be increased by a fourth to achieve the same desired result. Isn't that interesting? Do you know what happens with water in a vacuum? In a vacuum, water will boil at room temperature. Orange Slices are brief highlights from the Last Symptom podcast. Subscribe to full audio episodes of the show on any major podcast platforms such as Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon Music, and more. While I've got you chewing on that, like this video, pretty please. Might as well press subscribe while you're at it. I bet you a nickel you know somebody who's overdue for hearing some of these things, so go on, forward this video to them.